Hello, everyone. My name is TEMI. Welcome to our very first episode of Read with TEMI, where we discuss books and we tell stories. Today, we're going to be having a very interesting book, a book I find particularly interesting because of the bittersweet experience that it gives. The book title is, drumrolls, Who Moved My Cheese by Dr. Spencer Johnson. Now, some of you may be familiar with the book already, while some of you, this book would be new to you. Whichever category you fall into, we are going to be enjoying this ride together. So I'm going to be giving us a short biography of the author, Dr. Spencer, just to give us prior knowledge of his works and what he is about. So Dr. Spencer Johnson lived from 1938 to 2017. He was an American author and physician, best known for his best-selling book, Who Moved My Cheese? That's the book we are going to be reviewing. It's a simple book that talks about adapting to change. He studied psychology at the University of Southern California and earned his medical degree from the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. Though trained as a doctor, he became a celebrated writer and speaker, turning complex life and management lessons into easy-to-understand stories. His works have sold millions of copies worldwide and remained widely used in schools, organizations, and leadership trainings. Dr. Spencer is remembered for his unique ability to teach profound truth through storytelling. Now, that's about the author. I just want to give us a short intro about the book, Who Moved My Cheese? Remember, I'm not giving any spoilers yet. Not yet. I'm not even giving you any spoilers. We're just going to be enjoying this book episode by episode. But for context sake, I would just give us an overview of what the book is about. Now, Who Moved My Cheese is a story about change that takes place in a maze where four amusing characters look for cheese. Cheese being a metaphor for what we want to have in life, whether it's a job, relationship, money, a big house, freedom, health, recognition, spiritual peace, or even an activity like jogging or golf. Each of us has our own idea of what cheese is, and we pursue it because we believe it makes us happy. What does cheese mean to you? It's a question you should ask already. If we get it, we often become attached to it, and if we lose it or it's taken away, it can be traumatic. The maze in the story represents where you spend time looking for what you want. Remember, cheese in this context is something that you desire, something that you want, something that you hold high value to. It can be the organization you work in, the community you live in, or the relationships you have in your life. That could be your maze, where you find the things that, make you happy, or the things that you really want out of life. I tell the cheese story that you're about to read in my talks around the world. Now, this is the author speaking, and often hear later from people about what a difference it has made to them. Believe it or not, this little story has been credited with improving careers, marriages, and lives. I love this book a lot because it's not just to entertain you, but it sort of gives you an opening to what life is, and especially when it has to do with change. When you're so used to something, or you have something so long with you, something that you cherish, and all of a sudden you don't have it anymore. How do you respond to that? So this book is going to teach us how different people like you and I respond to change, how we go look for things that we really want, or things that kind of, add value to our lives. So guys, we already have an overview of the book, Who Moved My Cheese? Now we're going to be going to the first episode of this book. And the title of this episode says, Having Cheese Makes You Happy. Once long ago, in a land far away, there lived four characters who ran through a maze looking for cheese to nourish them and make them happy. Two were mice named Sniff and Scurry, and two were little people beings who were as small as mice but who looked and acted a lot like people today. Their names were Hem and Haw. Due to their small size, it would be easy not to notice what the four of them were doing. But if you looked closely enough, you could discover the most amazing things. Now, Dr. Spencer uses these characters to kind of represent human beings today, right? Every day, the mice and the little people spent time in the maze. Remember, during the overview, we talked about the maze. The maze is the place where you find the things that you want, the place where you go looking for those things that you hold dear to your heart. Now, every day, the mice and the little people spend time in the maze looking for their own special cheese. The mice, Sniff and Scurry, possessing simple brains and good instincts, searched for the hard, nibbling cheese they liked, as mice often do. The two little people, Hem and Haw, used their complex brains filled with many beliefs and emotions to search for a very different kind of cheese with a capital C, which they believed would make them feel happy and successful. Now, these two characters are looking for the same thing, things that they would desire or things that would make them happy. Both are looking for things that are important to them. As different as the mice and little people were, they shared something in common. Every morning, they each put on their jogging suits and running shoes, left their little homes and raced out into the maze looking for their favorite cheese. The maze was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, some containing delicious cheese, but they were also dark corners and blind alleys leading nowhere. It was an easy place for anyone to get lost. However, for those who found their way, the maze held secrets that let them enjoy a better life. Remember, the maze is the place where you go looking for the things that you desire. The mice, Sniff and Scurry used this simple try and error method of finding cheese. They ran down one corridor and it proved empty. They turned and ran down another. They remembered the corridors that held no cheese and quickly went into new areas. Sniff would smell out the general direction of the cheese using his great nose, and Scurry would race ahead. They got lost, as you might expect, went off in the wrong direction and often bumped into walls. But after a while, they found their way. Does that look like you sometime? Maybe you're trying to figure out your way with life, and then you try this, it doesn't work, you try this, it doesn't work, and then when you're trying again, you remember, I've tried this before, it didn't work, so let me try it this way, and then you eventually get what you want. So that can happen to anyone. Like the mice, the two little people, Hem and Haw, also used their ability to think and learn from their past experiences. However, they relied on their complex brains to develop more sophisticated methods of finding cheese. Now, Hem and Haw would represent humans like us, right? They were not as, small thinking like the mice and like Sniff and Scurry. So they approached finding the cheese in a more complex way, right? Using their past experiences to, find their way through and look for their best cheese. Sometimes they did well, but other times their powerful human beliefs and emotions took over and clouded the way they looked at things. It made life in the maze more complicated and challenging. Sometimes it's not that deep, right? So it just goes to tell us that we make things very serious when they are not supposed to be that serious, and then you feel frustrated along the way. Nonetheless, Sniff and Scurry, Hem and Haw all discovered in their own way what they were looking for. They each found their own kind of cheese one day at the end of one corridors in Cheese Station C. At the end of the day, they both found what they were looking for, although they had different ways of looking for it. Every morning after that, the mice and the little people dressed in their running gear and headed over to Cheese Station C. It wasn't long before they each established their own routine. Sniff and Scurry continued to wake early every day and race through the maze, always following the same route. When they arrived at their destination, the mice took off their running shoes, tied them together, and hung them around their necks so they could get to them quickly whenever they needed them again. Then they enjoyed the cheese, so they already knew where to go get their cheese. Right. In the beginning, Hem and Haw also raced towards Cheese Station C every morning to enjoy the tasty new mussels that awaited them. But after a while, a different routine set in for the little people. Hem and Haw awoke each day a little later, dressed a little slower, and walked to Cheese Station C. After all, they knew where the cheese was now and how to get there, so why the rush? They had no idea where the cheese came from or who put it there. They just assumed it would be there. You know when you get so used to having something around. As soon as Hem and Haw arrived at Cheese Station C each morning, they settled in and made themselves at home. They hung up their jogging suits, put away their running shoes, and put on their slippers. They were becoming very comfortable now that they had found the cheese. "This is great," Hem said. "There's enough cheese here to last us forever." The little people felt happy and successful and thought they were now secure. When you get that thing that you've always wanted, you feel secure about it, right? Yeah. It wasn't long before Hem and Haw regarded the cheese they found as Cheese Station C as their cheese. Like it's now theirs. Nothing can ever take it away from them. It was such a large store of cheese that they eventually moved their homes to be closer to it and built a social life around it. So why live afar off when you can just stay beside what you want? To make themselves feel more at home, Hem and Haw decorated the walls with sayings and even drew pictures of cheese around them, which made them smile. One of the quotes read, "Having cheese makes you happy." Now, we're going to stop here with this episode and just reflect on what we have just heard. You know, the Sniff and Scurry, Hem and Haw, they are all characters in this story. Each of them wanting the same thing. That's the cheese. Now, the cheese could be the same thing for them, but it could mean something different for each of them, right? But then when they found it, it made them feel secure, it made them feel happy. So they got to a point where they now felt very comfortable, like, I don't need to stress. Why run to get it when I know that I would always find it there, even if I took the time to go there. So they became very comfortable. You know, they had what they wanted. Everything was going so smoothly. You know, they kind of had a sense of entitlement, which in today's world we do at some point or in some situations, right? You have what you need. You don't go hard to get it. It's just there. You feel comfortable and life just feels good. So that will be all for now for this episode. Now, this is a time where we reflect on what cheese would mean to us as human beings, right? Cheese could be, like we read in the overview, your money, your family, something that you hold dear to you, your job, right? Something that brings happiness to you as a human being. That's what cheese could mean to you. And how do you respond to it? Like Sniff and Scurry, Hem and Haw, they were so happy. They felt so secured. They didn't even know where it came from. They just knew, well, I'm happy, I'm good, and that's all that matters. So this is the episode where you just reflect on, okay, what does cheese actually mean to me? So that will be all for this episode on Read with TEMI. See you on the next episode. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to leave your comments on your thoughts on this book. I will be so happy to have them. Thank you very much. Have a good day.